Good evening. The Prime Minister and the Chancellor have promised 300,000 new jobs for the Midlands. They were taken on a whistle-stop tour of some of the region's economic hotspots today, starting at train manufacturer Bombardier in Derby. George Osborne and David Cameron unveiled their plans to turn the Midlands into what they're calling an engine for growth. Here's Callum Watkinson.
All aboard the train of promises, you'd think there was an election coming. In a speech at train builder Bombardier in Derby, the Chancellor and Prime Minister said the Midlands economy has been travelling second class for years and revealed plans to get it back on the rails.
The Midlands has had an average growth rate of 3.7%, below the UK average of 4.2%. And if we can change that and raise the Midlands growth rate to that of the UK average, then we could add an extra £34 billion to the Midlands economy in real terms by 2030.
There were 6 main pledges, a £5.2 billion investment in transport, the most eye-catching. A wider M1 was promised and an electrified train line from Bristol via Birmingham to Derby.
It amounts to the biggest investment in transport infrastructure here in the Midlands in modern history. And this isn't a vague commitment. We are allocating specific sums to road and rail projects here in the Midlands. And that's all on top of the massive investment in HS2.
Meanwhile, the business secretary visited a car seat maker in Coventry to tell them they're one of 12 firms to benefit from a £60 million extension to the Regional Growth Fund.
We will create with this almost 400 additional jobs. There will be apprentices, definitely. I mean, at the moment we have 16 here, and we will definitely bring this number up because we have had a very good experience with our apprenticeship program.
Big promises, not uncommon in an election year, which the Chancellor says could translate to an extra 300,000 Midlanders in work. Callum Watkinson, ITV News.
The Conservative plans continue after the break here on ITV. John Stapleton is in the Central Lobby studio with the details.
Coming up straight after this bulletin, we debate those plans laid out by the Conservatives today. Our panel of Midlands MPs is getting ready to give its verdict, and we will ask if Labour is doing enough to win over local business. That's Central Lobby here on ITV in just a few minutes.
Police are trying to catch a gang of jewel thieves who smashed their way into a shop in Coventry. Security cameras filmed the moment the ram raiders burst through the front of the property using a stolen car. During the rush to steal jewellery, the gang can be seen slipping and sliding on the shop's polished floor. They use axes to smash cabinets, which set off smoke security device. They escaped in a stolen Audi A3 sports car. West Midlands Police have appealed for information. Detectives say they are dangerous men who threatened to shoot a man who was passing during the robbery at 5:20 on Thursday, January 29th. 2 women from Walsall who were arrested on suspicion of Syria-related terrorism offences yesterday have been released on bail. A 23-year-old was questioned on suspicion of preparing acts of terrorism, and a 33-year-old was arrested on suspicion of failing to disclose information. A driver has been caught speeding at 145 miles an hour down the M6 toll. It was the worst speeding offence of 2014. The Institute of Advanced Motorists says drivers need to improve their skills and attitude to reduce road deaths. Aston Villa are in the hunt for a new manager after sacking Paul Lambert yesterday following a poor run of results. The team have lost their last 5 Premier League games. After defeat to Hull this week, the club slipped into the bottom 3, with relegation a real possibility. Our sports correspondent Steve Clamp has this report.
At the Aston Villa training ground this morning, no word from the players on the departure of their manager. Of course, the news that the club had parted company with Paul Lambert can hardly have been a massive surprise. The fans who had once welcomed his arrival now wanted him to go. Dave Woodall, editor of the Heroes and Villains fanzine, just wishes he'd gone sooner.
Things hadn't been going right for Paul Lambert. They'd been getting worse every game, really, falling away dramatically. And so he probably went at the wrong time. It should have been a few months ago, but certainly at least Villa now can start again while there's enough time left in the season to get out of trouble.
And his feelings echoed by those visiting Villa Park today to buy tickets and merchandise. When you first heard about Lambert, what was your first reaction?
scream with joy.
I was pleased. That Paul Lambert had gone. His brand of football very dour.
We tried long ball, we tried kick and run, and then we tried possession football, but I think everything he tried, it just wasn't working for him, sadly, at this club.
And when we spoke to Lambert last week, this lack of faith from the fans had clearly been felt.
If you sit and think I don't feel it, or I don't feel under pressure, then that's other people's views, but I'll swap seats with you when you see how it feels.
But in a world where managers get sacked often seemingly on a whim, was Lambert's reign really that bad? Well, the loss on Tuesday to Hull was his 101st league game in charge. From those 101 games, he accrued exactly 101 points. So on average a point a game, or the equivalent of drawing every single match and winning none. But of course there were victories, 25 of them. But there were more draws, 26, and defeats, well, 50 in total, nearly as many as the wins and draws combined. His first 2 seasons in charge saw the club finish 15th. For a side with European aspirations, not exactly impressive. And now with 13 games left to play of this season, Villa are in the relegation places. With the former European Cup winners now up for sale, it seems the risk of going down and taking the club's value with it was one risk too many.
Well, Aston Villa's chairman, Randy Lerner, has also released a statement tonight saying it was our hope and belief that Villa would strengthen during Paul's tenure with the club. Adding players and investing in the squad over the last 3 years has strengthened the side, and it is our hope that we can rise to the occasion for the remainder of the season. I want very much to thank Paul for his commitment to me personally and to Villa, and wish him well in the future. The boss of Network Rail has warned it's going to take several weeks to fully reopen a blocked section of the Chiltern Railways line to London. A landslip has halted trains between Leamington Spa and Banbury, and a massive operation is underway to clear it. Keith Wilkinson has more.
In the past week, 30,000 tonnes of rubble has been removed. Giant earth-moving vehicles are working flat out to deal with this landslip. An immense engineering project to tackle a vast problem. This is one of the signals on the Chiltern line through Leamington near Harbury Tunnel. But for safety reasons, the railway remains closed here in case the deep cutting dug out in the 1800s slides down on top of it. Today, the Transport Secretary and the Chief Executive of Network Rail were among those taking a look at progress. They say more will be known next week about just how long things are going to take.
I think it is going to be several weeks, unquestionably, until we open the railway properly. It's a vast operation. It's one of the biggest landslips that we've had in many, many years. And so I'm afraid it's very inconvenient for those passengers, and I deeply understand it for the 20,000 or so passengers that are affected every day. I really understand that it's inconvenient for them. But we are really working flat out here to restore services as quickly as we possibly can.
In excess of 350,000 tonnes of rocks in certain things that need to be removed to make sure that we can get the gradients and the slippage and the stability right. And there's still work being done on investigating that, and we won't know the full reports of that until early next week.
Passengers are being taken by bus around this section of track while the work goes on. There'll be no trains here until engineers are sure the land won't slip again. Keith Wilkinson, ITV News.
Time now for a look at the weather forecast. Here's Kerry Gosney.
What's in store for today? ITV Local Weather, sponsored by Centre Parks.
Hello, as we head into Friday, less cold but more unsettled with stronger winds. Overnight tonight, where we did have the clearer spells earlier in the night up towards Staffordshire, the coldest of the temperatures, but for most of us hovering just above freezing overnight tonight. Quite a lot of cloud, the winds gathering strength and a few showers developing towards dawn. Fairly showery start tomorrow. By lunchtime, rain will have started to push its way in from the west across all parts of the region and into the afternoon as it pushes north and eastwards. Yes, some clearer spells but also some showers which could be on the sharp side. Temperatures around average for the time of year, but remaining fairly breezy. Have a good one.
ITV Local Weather, sponsored by Centre Parks.
Now that's all the news and weather that we have time for tonight. Don't forget to check out our website to get live news updates from across the Central region, itv.com/central. For now though, enjoy the rest of your evening from all of us here. Good night.